today's June 25th and we're just cutting some grass hay. There's definitely going to be a lot of tonnage out here. Right now my uncle's cutting and he's still doing the end rows. And we like to do 6 passes on the outside. That way we have enough room to turn when we're cutting east and west, and also when we're raking. We do 6 on the outside, that way we can make 3 end rows when we rake it together. This is about a 25-30 acre field, and it's right next to one of our pastures. And that pasture can't really support all the cows we put over here. And so what we do is, after we cut this and let it regrow a bit, we let the cows into this 25-30 acres. And that way we can support all these cattle. You can see this grass is really tall, and so it's holding quite a bit of moisture. Ah, shoot. I just dropped my nickel. It's June 27th now. It's freaking hot, and we noticed that the top of this hay was getting pretty dry, and so it was looking like it was getting ready. And so today we're trying to rake it. The problem is, I mean, look at this windrow. It's insane. There's so much stuff. We're just worried that we're gonna plug the rake, and so if this doesn't work, we'll have to go with our 6-wheel rake and see if we can just flip it like that. Take a lot more time using that with the rake and for the baler. We always skip a pass like that because it's too sharp of a turn. I actually had it one time where I turned too sharp. I didn't skip a pass, and my back wheel started hitting the rake. Going about 5.5 miles an hour, which is a little slow. It's a little slower than what we normally do. I'm running in C3 half staff, and the reason for that is the faster you go, kind of the higher the chance that the rake plugs, because it's just coming in there so fast and it can't get out. And also, when we go slower, if it does so happen to plug, the odds are that you didn't travel as far, and then you won't have as much plugged up back there. And actually, 2 weeks ago I plugged the rake when I was raking alfalfa, and it took 10 to 15 minutes of spreading that stuff out because I went quite a ways and it was packed in there pretty tight. up these end rows, and then I'll head back and unhook the rake and hook up to the bale hauler. And my dad said he hooked up the baler, and we're probably gonna start in a couple hours. This stuff will need to dry for a bit, and so it'll probably be 7, 8 o'clock. So the 7520 is hooked up to the bale hauler, and the 7530 is hooked up to the baler. And so we just have to wait a couple hours for that to dry out. The hauler holds about 14 bales, and then I'll put one on the spear. And so he'll have to make a few rounds, and that way there'll be enough up here so I don't have to drive too far with the tractor every time to pick up a bale. He's getting to have quite a few done, so I'll head back and I'll grab that bale hauler and I'll haul a load or two. One thing that my dad taught me is that when you pull into the field, you want to get face back towards the gate, because well, it puts a lot of stress on the trailer when you're turning sharp with a full load, but also when you're turning, the bales are more prone to fall off. So we like to get situated to where all we got to do is start driving forward to get out of the gate. Then besides that, I don't know, there's a couple techniques we use when we're loading bales, and most of the time when we're putting them on, we like to hover the spears up over that middle section and then set them down, and so the bottom of the bale captures that middle section, and when you back up, it pulls the bale off for you. And it works really well, because sometimes if you get wet bales and you just set them, say you're coming in from this way, you just set them on this one side close to you, sometimes when you're pulling back, they don't slide off the spear very well, and then they just fall on the ground, and they're usually on their side. And so we just like to, when we can, hover all the way over and then pull back by using that midsection to pull the bale off. Dad's taking off now. With all this moisture in the air and the sun going away, the hay was getting too damp, and so it wasn't baling up very well. And so this will probably be my, well, I only did one load. This will be my only load today. One thing that's very important is to get perfectly aligned with it, because we can slide it in and out, but when there's all that weight on there, it's almost impossible for me to move this side to side. And then the pin goes in really easily. Really easily. So I got two strategies for unloading bales, and one of them is kind of a no-brainer, and that is not to unload all the bales from one side. It's not really a strategy, but one of the first times I was doing this when I was younger, I unloaded them all from one side and the trailer tipped over. And I mean, it wasn't a big deal, nothing broke, but I felt like an idiot. And also, it's really nice to, I'm gonna be putting the bales right here, it's really nice to be able to stab, back up, and then drop the bale off, and then back up like that. Because sometimes you get to where, you know, you gotta stab it, and then you gotta turn around or something. And so it's just really nice to be able to go in, pull back, go back in, and pull back. I don't know if you noticed it, but I did something kind of stupid. You know, I was taking them off the front, and then I made it so I couldn't weave in there and take them off the back, so then I had to go around. But I don't know. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot going on. We got a drill millet. We got a lot of hay on the ground right now. We got our second cutting of alfalfa coming. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.